Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Baschamania podcast, or welcome to if this is your first time listening. My official co-host, Cenzo Joseph, joins me for another episode 90 of the Baschamania podcast, as RBY and Thomas Gilman join the show. Similar format today as last week, where Cenzo and I kind of talk about what's going on in wrestling, and then we bring in a couple of guests. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen. Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, Overcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, be sure to subscribe to Baschamania. And if you enjoy this episode, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts.
It's Baschamania! Let me tell you something, brother. He gave us everything he had in him tonight. What you gonna do when Baschamania runs wild? Oh, it's gonna be a good one. And business just picked up here on the podcast. Oh, yeah.
All right, I think we're good now. Cenzo, how are you?
Oh, I'm just great.
It was an interesting weekend because we were, first of all, Bill Steelers last night. Shout out Buffalo. I'm not a vengeful fan, so I'm grateful that you're like, I'm kind of a Bills fan. Like, how can you not be right now? But
right,
like, Bills look so good. I was empathizing for you even as a Bills fan in the first quarter. It was like drop. Like,
wait, well, it's not just drop. It's drop. Defender gets hurt. Drop. Then they're back on the defense. Defender gets hurt. So you can only feel bad for them at this point.
Right. As a Steelers fan, I don't.
How do you not feel bad for them? They have so many guys on their defense just hurt.
They're just so good, and I want Buffalo to win it all. So it's like if the
Steelers don't win, I'm cool with Buffalo winning.
It's funny how many people are in that position. Like, if my team doesn't win, like Dave Portnoy said on the Sports Advisor show last week, he's like, if Buffalo makes it to the Super Bowl, we will be there. We'll change plans around. And Big Cat was like, I think that they need to just have every person in Buffalo go outside, spray them with the vaccine so Bills Mafia could be at the game. Like,
I would love to see it.
How can we make that happen?
I might have to make a trip for that too.
Dude, and it's funny, you'll have to come next year because I actually bought season tickets this year before this all happened. So it's a 3-year commitment. So I'm still in. They said they're going to opt out this year, so I'm in at least for the next 3 years. So you'll have to come up here next year for a game. Dude, there's nothing like it.
I'll have to at some point, yeah.
What?
It just seems like a good time.
Oh,
they're very passionate.
There's nothing like it. And watching some of the degenerates that are out there, like, no matter what you do, you feel good about yourself because you're like, well,
at least, yeah, for sure.
At least you're not flying through a table. So, and you also had an interesting weekend, Bo's wedding. How was that? I saw Masvidal was there.
Yeah, he was. Cool guy. You know, can't say a bad thing about him. It was a nice little get together. You know, it's hard to do things like that nowadays, but just kind of got to make sure you're doing everything you can to be safe and protecting yourself. That's really
any like funny moments from the wedding. Like, I was curious. Like, I saw a picture of, I think, you, Nolf, Masvidal, and maybe someone else.
Cody Law.
Yeah.
Cody Law's crushing guys right now too.
He's killing it. And so I saw that picture of the four of you. I'm like, there has to be a good story. Was there any good stories behind those pictures? Like, all weddings are fun, but like.
So he actually, Masvidal we get there. Guy's a huge wrestling fan. He was like gushing over Coach Kale. He was like, oh my gosh. He's like the first thing he said to me, he was like, I would love to get a good hand fight in with all these guys. Like,
dude, he should go to the Penn State room. That would be fun, great content, good training. Like,
yeah, and you know, as long as we're not throwing punches, I think that we would do okay for the most part. But
well, and there's going to be a lot of talk about content on this episode. And I was just texting Cal today. Barstool keeps doing these like Jenga tournaments, like 2-on-2, and I haven't watched it, but I was going through YouTube today and I saw it was on, and it was like Dave and Rhea, I think, versus two people. And long story short, there was like 5,000-6,000 people watching it. And I'm texting Cal, like, who wouldn't tune in for a 2-on-2 Jenga tournament in the Penn State room? Like, I don't. What's the limit of what people will tune into for, like, just to? It's not about just the Jenga; it's the personalities behind it. Like,
it's the reactions behind the Jenga, because you get to, like, if you're watching Coach Kale and Varner play Jenga, that's going to be super intense.
Right, in the little one-liners, like, I love anytime I get down to Penn State for practice, it's like the one-liners you hear during dodgeball that, like, you hear in your head for the next, like, 3 days. Like, the last time we were there, I can't remember who was saying it, but someone yelled, like, get Mark Hall. I can't remember who it was, but it stuck with me for, like, 3-4 days. Like, that's it was
probably Cunningham. It's probably Cunningham.
That wouldn't surprise me. And Cal talking about traders and stuff. Like, that's the content. I was talking to Nolf last week, and we were talking a little bit about content. And I'm like, I think what wrestling needs is more content that's based around the personalities that's not just wrestling-centric. Like, Nolf and I were talking about how he's renovating the house. I'm building a house. And we both don't want to share too much because when you're doing home improvement and homework, it's like it's kind of personal. You don't want to share it with everyone. But I'm like, who wouldn't tune in for renovating with Null for some of these things that, like,
exactly. And we've been with the NLWC considering, doing more things like that, just following our guys around with cameras, simple things. Watch Jason Null, play around in golf.
Dude, I've been advocating for golf with Null for 2 years now. Like, just have a cameraman follow him on the golf course, get in the cart with him. Like, it'd be hilarious.
Yeah, ask him some stupid questions about golf. Maybe some history type questions. Get him going a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
But speaking of wrestling, it was announced last week Burroughs and Taylor is happening.
About time.
And I am pumped for this match. I know it's been in the works since, like, March, April-ish. I think when everything went down and they knew there was going to be World Championships or Olympics, it started happening. When you heard it was official, what was your first thought?
I was surprised. I was really surprised that Burroughs agreed to it.
At 86 or just agreed in general?
Just in general.
Yeah.
You don't want to wrestle David. I mean, you just watch him. He wrestles hard the whole time. And obviously you could say the same thing about Burroughs too. But up at 86, this is going to be a fun match. It really, really is.
I think it is too. And I love consuming the commentary around it because there's so many different perspectives. Like, if you're talking about, if you asked me the score a month ago, it'd be completely different right now after the Taylor Dean match. Because I'm like, ooh, Taylor looked like a month ago, I thought Taylor was invisible. Like, nobody's touched him since 2017. He's beating the crap out of Yazdani, everybody. Now I'm like, that was a good close match. Like, and Dave even said after the match, like, those are the kind of matches I want. They push me. So I like that, but it's like, I go back on forward thinking Jordan's a 5-time World Olympic medalist. Dave hasn't been really challenged at the weight, even on an international level. He hasn't lost anybody in a long time. It's like, I don't know. And I give props to Jordan for coming up. And
he doesn't have anything to lose coming up and weight.
But everything Jordan does, he wants to do legacy. You don't think there's, like, that pride on the line of, like, I don't think he's wrestling because just money is definitely a factor.
No, he's payday.
You know what I mean? Like,
not.
there has to be, there has to be that in his head. Like, at this point in his career, he's going after people who can, like, continue to elevate his brand and legacy. And he wants that shot at David. If he goes up and beats David at 86, I feel like the pressure's more on David than Jordan in that regard. Because that's David's weight. Like, that's his stomping grounds. If it was at 74, I feel like the pressure would be on Jordan. Because it's at Dave's weight, I feel like the pressure's more at Dave's weight. Like, if Dave wins, everybody's going to be like, well, of course Dave should have won. It's at 86 kilos. So let me ask you this. Because we talk about gambling on this show, non-biasedly, if you had to set a line, non-biased,
if you
had to set a line, what would it be?
So I was thinking about this, and I'm still going to go David, but non-biased, I'd give him maybe a 1.5.
What about the money line? It's so
I have
tough,
no
dude. I've been
idea.
thinking about it for a week. I can't like put a number on it.
I have no idea. And like, just because they're both so good and they both win so
Yeah.
much, it's like you don't see either of these guys lose ever.
Correct. And if you say like, because the Gabe Dean match was close, that would change it. But then I feel like that match could almost be an anomaly where if Dave comes out and just it is like vintage David Taylor beating Yazdani in Iran, like that wouldn't surprise me. You know, it's like if Jordan pulls up a sock and goes on a tear,
You
that
can't
wouldn't
just
surprise me. It's like
you can't. I don't think you could take one match and be like, oh, he's here now at his wrestling. I think Gabe Dean.
no,
wrestled
I
an
agree.
awesome match.
I agree.
I think Gabe Dean wrestled a really strategic, smart match and just game
Yep.
planned perfectly, and
Yep.
gave himself a real legit chance to win it too. And I think that's just something with David. Next time he maybe take that match a little different,
Yeah.
approach wise. But I don't think you can look at that one match and then say, oh, maybe Jordan's going to get him now because David doesn't have all that offense as before. Nah, it's there. It's still there.
Yeah, and I don't think that match lowers David Taylor's stock whatsoever. It just, for somebody who has seemed invisible, it kind of it like, is there a shot? You know what I mean? It's not
you
like
can see him.
Yeah. he's been I mean, he's been so untouchable that I'll be honest, at that match I thought Dave was going to destroy him. I didn't think it was even going to be a match. Like Gabe's coming out of
I
retirement.
did too.
You know what I mean? Like I thought so anytime a match like that happens. The other thing interesting too, the rest of the card, I imagine Flo is going to go all out on getting good matches.
If they can afford it.
You think they're putting all the money behind those two, and then the rest of the matches are going to be
Probably, unless they have a lot more money than they've been,
I think
saying.
I think this whole Rokfin thing is like really pushing them.
No, it is. I've been watching a lot more Flow Wrestling.
And I was surprised from a marketing standpoint. I was talking about this with a couple of people. I was surprised that they announced and started advertising the David Jordan match before the bracket this weekend. The standard flow has been like promote an event. The second that's over, promote the next event. They kind of broke tradition, and it's like they got that news out there and kind of broke away from advertising the bracket challenge this weekend to advertise that. So they were like waiting to get that out there.
It's huge news.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that you kind of, you stop everything for. You got to let everyone know.
Yeah. Did you watch them in the press conference?
No.
So I didn't either. And I'm really
I didn't even know
curious.
if there was one.
Yeah, it wasn't well advertised, but I happened to like go through and I saw it. And I guess it's good and it's bad. It's like it's good that they like really respect each other. So they weren't really talking crap. You almost wonder if there was that animosity that there would be more interest in it. Like it's great that they should both respect each other. They've both done amazing things. But you almost wonder, does that take away from the hype when they're not like we talked like MMA trash talk and that kind of, it's like, does it take away that they respect each other so much?
I don't think so. This is a match that you don't really even need that. Yeah. Like when you look back at, I don't know, some of like the gigantic UFC fights, like there was a ton of crap talk, but we'll use Conor and Khabib for example. Yeah. Like they were that it got kind of ugly, but you didn't even need that to sell that fight.
Correct.
Like you don't need trash talk to sell this match. Like to sell this match, all you need to do is here it is. Like their results speak for themselves, and I can't wait. Like everybody has wanted that match since the moment they, whether it was fake or not, there's a lot of banter back and forth and their trash talk on Twitter. But since the moment it was a possibility, it's got to easily be one of the most anticipated matches. The only one that I think may be more anticipated, and it doesn't have the same feel, but just like is Gilman Lee
For some reason, I hear so much talk about that match. That's not like that's going to happen at the trials, or it's potentially going to. So it's
There's
not one. It's like Burroughs and Taylor isn't going to happen anywhere else. Mm-hmm. It's one time. David Stain 86 forever. Jordan 74 forever. This is the one time it's going to happen. Wait a minute, what?
I don't know. Jordan's been wrestling. What? He's wrestling 2 matches in a row at 86 now.
If Jordan went up a weight, I could see him going 79.
Okay. I mean, there's no 79 this year. He's not going to go up a weight this year either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he went up a weight, if he wanted to go 79 for 1 year, I don't know.
I don't know either. I think that he would be 74 until he's done. But
yeah,
if you're wrestling that much up at a higher weight,
and you know,
it's a little different.
Speaking of Flo and Rokfin, Flo is stepping up more and more, and they have the bracket challenge this weekend. McKenna's injured, so he's out. Alec Pantelio is in, which I think he's a great ad. He is 4-0 at the RTC Cup. Like, he looked good.
No, he's good. I mean, he's one of those guys that's always going to be good, and he brings his A game every time he wrestles. He wrestles our guys tough every time, and he's exciting. He can pop you from the open pretty well. He's going to be an interesting matchup for a lot of those guys.
Did you take a look at the bracket and think about who you think makes it out of the first round?
I need to take a better look at it. I have my pick to who's going to win.
Who do you think's going to win it?
I got JO, man.
I'm leaning that way. I am too. I think in the quarters, Bajrang beats Lugo. I think Ashnall beats Henderson. I think Jo beats Alec, and I think James beats Bryce. Then I think Jordan beats James.
Yeah.
I think Bajrang, depending on how Ashnall wrestles, Ashnall looked really, really good at the Pan Ams. But I'll give the edge to Bajrang, and then if it's Jo Bajrang in the finals, which I think it could potentially be. But if Ashnall makes the finals, I wouldn't be surprised if he wrestles like Pan Ams. It's just the weight. It's the weight. He looked so good at Pan Ams. He looked really, really good at Pan Ams. That's kind of stuck in my head.
I didn't see him, but Bajrang, man, you're going to pick Ashnall over Bajrang?
No. I think Bajrang and Jo is the final. And I think Jo beats Bajrang in the finals.
I think so too. I think that's kind of how I see it playing out. Where can I find this bracket?
Baschamania. I just posted it.
Of course. Why wouldn't you have it? All right. Yeah. And realistically, Lugo can give Bajrang a match in the first round too.
So I keep hearing that a little bit, like Lugo.
He's tough. He just wrestles tough. He's strong.
I don't know why I see Bajrang looking very, very dominant until the finals, and then Jordan looked really good against the last time, and I think his conditioning just wasn't where it was. And I'm not a wrestling technique guy, and I don't claim to be, but I feel like if Jordan's really been getting that up, then he should be able to beat Bajrang. I
think so too. All right, I'm looking at it right now. I'm going to go Bajrang. I'm going to pick Henderson over Ashnall, and I think Henderson's
a stud.
Wrestling great.
He's wrestled like 10 times in the last couple of years at all these different tournaments. Like, he's and all the Cornell guys, like, back in big time. Like, you guys are sleeping on Henderson. Yeah,
he's good. He's always been good too.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock on Ashnall at all. Ashnall's great. It's just I think Henderson's wrestling really well. Jo, then James Green. Jo and James Green is going to be awesome too.
I can't wait for that match. I was really looking forward to Jo.
If it happens.
Correct. Jo Ashnall, I was really looking forward to too, because they have really clashing styles, I think, and I think that would have been an amazing match.
I think any one of these guys against each other is that's an exciting match.
Yeah,
really. Like there isn't one slouch or. Even like Bryce has been wrestling good too, man. Like, he's been wrestling everywhere.
He's been he's one of those guys who, I mean, he beat Bo Bartlett, and then he beat
beat DeSanto.
Beat DeSanto. Like
beat him up.
Yeah. Like he's been out there. And I think too, for some of these guys at the weight, like if, James is committing now to this weight, but still, if he's off the scale and Bryce just comes out on fire, that could be an interesting match. All these guys really too. Like,
and Bryce is a tough guy too.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of gets like looked past because he's a really good scrambler, but like he wrestles hard also. He's going to wrestle hard the entire match.
He's one of those guys who could have one of those runs that afterwards, if he goes on a run and wins something, you're like, well, I knew he could do that. Like he's one of those guys that wouldn't surprise you for going on a run.
Yeah. But with all that being said, I think I'm going to go with J.O.
Yeah, I got
in the finals.
I got to go Jo too. I love that there's this much wrestling. I hope that they're announcing a next bracket, and I hope you're in it. It's been too long since you've been.
I would like to be in it.
I mean, by the way,
I was on the mat today.
Everything good? Everything feel like ready to go?
Crisp.
It's not too late to wrestle next week.
Crisp.
It's not too late.
It's not.
So let me ask you this, because I'm curious on a wrestler's perspective. When you're talking about these bracket challenges that have $20,000 to $25,000 of prize money on the line, how much does that raise the incentive? Because normally for a wrestler, it's like year round. All it is everything's geared specifically towards winning world or Olympic gold. That's it. Everything's like seeding. I need a better seed, or I want to feel this guy because of the trials. How different does it feel for you to know that as you really get your senior level career going, there's these tournaments start to pop up where it's not just about a world and Olympic medal? Clearly you want to win that, but a $25,000 payday, like how much does that kind of resonate with you as far as like, let's have some fun? I
like it, but I've never even wrestled in an event that had a cash prize like that. So I don't really know how I feel about it.
But if it's on the horizon, like if Flo reached out to you and said, hey, we're going to do a bracket, we want you in.
Like, yes, like definitely exciting. I would think that for me, I would have to stay more so focused on the competition at hand, or just making sure that I'm prepared and not really kind of lose sight of, why I do the sport. I do the sport because I'm passionate about it, because I like to compete. And then the money and everything like that, that's just a side part of it.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those things that, like I said, it's not going to change the focus. I think for most guys, for some guys, anytime
some guys it will change the focus. Yeah.
At anytime you throw in money, you're going to start throwing in people who get a little bit distracted by that.
Absolutely.
That's par for the course. But it's exciting too to know that so many wrestlers, especially, I know that the lifestyle. I don't want to say your lifestyle's on hold because there's more money coming into the sport, but you almost know you're going to be living at a certain amount for a couple of years while you train, because you're sacrificing. Now that you can sacrifice and potentially, if they have a couple different ones of these a year, and I got news, if I don't really have news, but if Flo's doing this, I suspect other people are going to start doing it.
Right. Why can't whoever, private party?
You don't like there's some wealthy donors. You don't think Titan Mercury, like they just did the RTC Cup with Flo, you don't think they could go on track, or Rokfin? I know Titan Mercury's mindset. They want to work with as many people as possible. They don't want to give everything to everybody. So if Titan Mercury went on track and said, we're going to do a mini US Open, whatever, I think there's going to be that potential for more money to be made. And not that it's going to be, I think, lavish money, but if you wrestlers can start living a little bit more comfortably with some of these paydays while you in, that's good for the sport. That only makes things more exciting.
And it helps us with our training and everything too. It really does. If we can make more money, it just makes living more comfortable and just things easier.
Yeah, everybody knows how stressful finances can be. So if you're an athlete and you don't have to worry about that, that's why it's so crucial when athletes can get that support. Mike Machiavello just launched some apparel last week. And first of all,
I need to buy some. Yeah.
It looked really cool. And I'm like, I shared it out instantly everywhere. Like, guys, go support this. Go get some. And he's like,
I don't think that a lot of people understand, like even us, like we buy our like friends merch. Like Anthony came out with shirts. Like I'm like, I'm buying one of those. I'm supporting my friend.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm gonna buy some mock gear.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna support my guy. Like people
and
just expect free stuff.
no, I know. And like Mock was so thankful that I shared it out. I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? Like, first of all, the gear is just fresh. Like, it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
But on top of that, like, this is the easiest way people can support you. It helps the brand. It puts money in your pocket. I hope we see more and more of that. And especially as the NCAA name, image, likeness passes, if people can start kind of getting their feet wet with just I think it's such a learning curve when athletes hit the senior level. There's kind of that, I've never really thought about the financial aspect and protecting myself and setting myself up. And if athletes can start thinking about that a little bit earlier, I think it's going to help them when they get to their senior level status, where it's like, now you really have to focus on switching things up. And you can't even just count on your stipend from a club. Like Gilman had to think outside the box when it's like, hey, I'm going to leave them and go to the NLWC. You don't want to be so locked into one club or one organization that you're worried like, hey, I need that money so I can't go explore free agency or something else. You know, like we built Gilman website. We're potentially going to put some apparel on there. Like these are things that all these, who wouldn't buy that? I mean, but it's like all.
He has this one shirt with like his face on it that I just need. Like I just need it.
I think that's a Ricio designed one. Yeah.
Yeah. I need
like
that shirt.
Every athlete, like even you, like we're gonna have to talk when we stop recording about like getting like even
I don't have anything.
Even athletes that don't have an official apparel sponsor putting it out for them. I think we need to make it more streamlined. Like Kassar did it. He went out, he did the legwork. I think we need to make that more. I think we need to make it easier, more accessible. And at BASCH Solutions, we've been trying to.
I think so. I think so too, because especially like people like me, you know, like no sponsors reaching out or anything like that.
Which is
it's hard.
wild.
Like, you don't know what to do. Yeah.
And we talked about that just after the season. I think this year you got to a point over the last 2 to 3 years where all these companies are taking on so many athletes. And now everybody's got a big athlete pool. Rudis, Scrap Life, Adidas, Nike. Everybody's got kind of their athletes. And now it's like it's only sustainable to take on so many athletes at once because it's a lot of money you're paying out, even if they're not making what the absolute top guys are making. It's a lot of money to pay out. But I think there's nothing stopping wrestlers from, and this might, maybe I started writing these articles on Rokfin. This might be the next one, like the process of just saying, here's how to go sell apparel without, and
I would read it.
It also takes like, you kind of have to front money a little bit in some regards, like if you're buying the apparel, but there's ways to do it. We're going to talk after this because we definitely need to get some Cenzo merch. Like think about the possibilities.
So I have some stuff getting like made right now and I have some like ideas, you know, in my brain. Some of them are, I have some items right now, not with me. My buddy has them, but we've been, you know, brainstorming, going through some different stuff.
Can we disclose what any of them are?
No, we just started making some hoodies. We only got a couple in right now, but they're pretty cool. We're still messing with the design and everything, though.
Well, I love the hustle behind it. Like any wrestler listening, if you're not with an apparel company, like go sell shirts. Like it's such an easy way. Everybody wants to support you. Like that. I get more messages because people know that BASCH Solutions has built and helped maintain the NLWC website for the last like 8 years, I think. So people message us like, why don't you guys have gear? I'm like, first of all, it's not my decision. Second of all, like e-commerce functionality is on the site.
That's a pretty nice crew neck you got on there right now, I will say.
I'm going to try to make, these are like 4 or 5 years old. I want to make some red ones.
Oh,
like invert, like take this red, make the red, and then make it like a white logo or something.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's great.
That's coming soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like NLWC. You know, people want to buy the gear. I was just telling Cal, like
we need to sell gear.
Yeah, and everybody needs to sell gear because it's such an easy way for people to support you. Like if you compete on whatever NLWC card coming up and you walk out wearing a shirt, that's what people want to go and buy.
Right.
If you believe in yourself enough to say, like, this is like BASCH Solutions, this is mine. People want it. Like, I want that. Like, and with wrestlers and athletes, it's 10 times more. Like, that's what people want. Speaking of NLWC card, there's one coming up on, I think it's like next Tuesday.
It is.
And I'm shocked that more matches haven't been announced.
We got some fire coming.
So RBY Sterling, which we're going to try to get RBY on in a few minutes, but I'm surprised that these matches haven't been announced yet. Like, I've been like pushing the event because we talked about it last week. Like, it's $9.99. Go sign up. I think it's the easiest way to support the sport right now. There's so many great matches.
It really is.
When are these matches going to be coming announced? Do you know? Are they like tomorrow? Like,
I don't when exactly, but I'd say by at least Tuesday next week we'll have them announced. And we got some good ones. Just like, so same thing with us. I go into a tournament. I'm not really looking at who I'm wrestling first. I just trust my training and trust the process. Same thing. You don't need to know who's wrestling first. Just trust the process. The matches are going to be good.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought because I'm curious now that there's been some events, what you're getting. It's going to be a good event. And no matter what, anyways, if you watch the analytics for pay-per-view style events, whether it's on Rokfin or anywhere, the new subscribers or the bulk of the buys come at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like you don't have to spend 3 months, 3 weeks advertising the event because everybody signs up the last minute anyways.
I think a lot of the build-up, though, is what gets people to sign up at the last minute. I know for me, for me, if I'm going to go, buy whatever on Rokfin for a match, even though like I already have an account, so I don't need to go do that. But if I want to go watch the Wisconsin card, I would probably just pay for it right before as I'm logging on.
See, and I feel like when I see a match, I feel like a lot of people, I don't know, it's interesting. I feel like a lot of people, when they hear a match announcement, they make that decision of, is this worth my money?
Mm-hmm.
I think the storyline helps. I don't think you should just only announce a match. I think it'd be cool to announce a match, then have, like, I love what Burroughs and Gilman put out. I think they both kind of put it out, like a video of them. Like, that's cool. If somebody's on the edge, that stuff helps, say, this match is coming up, and then you see some highlights of, oh, this is going to be better than I thought, or, okay, I can't miss this. Like, nobody wants the FOMO, right? Like, you can't miss that match. I think that's – what do you think is going to happen with RBY match? What do you think the final score is?
If it's a freestyle match, then 10-0. Yeah, like a couple minutes. But I think they're doing some BJJ too, so I don't know how that's going to go. I have no idea. Probably not in Roman's favor, but the wrestling part's going to be all Roman.
And I saw it was funny. I saw some people, and Roman, he's got to troll him, but somebody was like tweeting back, like, oh, great, a wrestler versus an MMA guy who wants to see that or something. And he's like, don't watch. It's interesting. I think it's interesting to see the crossover and see, like, Sterling was a great wrestler. It's not like he's just an MMA guy and he wants to try wrestling. Like,
he's wrestled before. He wrestled in college and everything. Yeah. No, he's not a bad wrestler. It's just, I don't know if he's Roman. No,
Roman's going to tech him 10-0. It's just that's what I think.
I agree. But I wouldn't pick too many people over Roman anyway. So guys that are full-time wrestlers, I really wouldn't pick too many over Roman. So
yeah, if Roman ever loses, it's like he shouldn't have lost that. It's never like, well, that guy's better.
I've never watched him lose and was like, he just wasn't the guy that time. Like, like Roman will get him
right. And speaking of subscribing on Rokfin, there's something I want to touch on. Because I signed up last week because I think it's important for this podcast to have a presence there because the wrestling community on Rokfin is growing. So I think it's a great place to create exposure and have your content. And what you see a lot happening because of the way the content and the platform is structured, is people are trying to steal subscribers from each other, which I think is so stupid. So it's
I think it's hilarious.
And
I think it's hilarious.
Case in point, Wisconsin RTC put out a tweet like, so pumped for Gross Gilman. Or no. Tar Heel Wrestling Club put out the tweet of Evan Wick versus Kennedy Monday. Subscribe now. Rokfin.com/Tar Heel Wrestling Club. And Wisconsin RTC is like, hey, at least give credit to the author. And this happened back the first time when NLWC joined. Tony Hager and I Wrestle put out like, subscribe
there was other guys
now.
Too.
Yeah, Tony Ramos did it. There was a ton.
Oh yeah.
And I don't, if you're not thinking, I understand there's some innocence to it. Not everybody who does it is trying to be a jerk. But
I disagree.
Really?
I don't think no innocence to that. Like, they were getting subscribers for themselves. Like, you don't do that. You don't do that unintentionally.
I don't disagree. I just think that people sometimes don't think before they do something. I think that's why you saw a lot of tweets get deleted. I think you saw some tweets get deleted because of backlash, and I think you saw some tweets get deleted because it's like, that's their event. Maybe I'm being like giving them too much credit. That wouldn't surprise me.
You're giving guys credit, but I disagree a little bit with that, and I don't think it's the worst thing you could do. You know,
yeah, and
what?
It's like I think I love that Rokfin came out with this tipping feature, because it's like I love the NLWC and I want people to support the NLWC more than I want to support myself. I have no problem going on Twitter and saying, and I'll tell everybody listening, like, go subscribe. If you're going to watch the NLWC event, go subscribe, because whoever you subscribe to is able to monetize the content the most. That said, if you want to go subscribe to Rokfin because you want to watch the NWC event, don't subscribe to me. Subscribe to Rokfin, and if you enjoy this content, you can tip now. Like, and I saw some people like reading the article that I put out last week, or a couple of them, and it's like, here's a small tip. Thanks for putting this out. That's a great feature by Rokfin to be able to say, like, and the way Rokfin is structured, per my understanding now, is if you're helping retain users, if your content's being viewed, you're going to get credit for the content.
And then you'll start to end up getting a portion of whatever.
Correct.
You know. So if you're paying $10 a month, like, it's not all just going to, you know,
right.
If you watch NLWC Card, it's not just going to that. If you pay $10 a month and watch NLWC Card, watch Baschamania, whatever, then like it ends up over time getting, you know, dispersed.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to the thing we've talked about, which is just support the sport, support the people. And I loved it when I saw it last week. Gwiz was live streaming wrestle-offs, and you saw people tipping him for doing it. Like, free content, and they're tipping him $2, $10, $5. Like, that's great. That little generosity goes so far, especially within the sport. Like, that's huge.
Wait, so Gwiz was live streaming wrestle-offs?
Yes.
He was getting tipped for that?
Yes.
Maybe I should do that at Penn State and make some money off our guys.
I think there's a lot of. He was also commentating, which I think had some value.
No,
I'm
just joking.
No, yeah. but I think, like, that's smart. I like when people are doing it tastefully. If anybody's doing it to try to, like, siphon money out, you're never gonna win in this sport, let alone anything else. But it's like, if you provide value, people will reward you. Stop worrying about the dollar and focus on the value, and I think people will reward you for it. And I think you're seeing that with, like, tipping now. Like, for everybody listening, even though Baschamania is on Rokfin now, like, if your primary focus is, I want to go watch this event, I want to support Penn State, I want to support the Nittany Wrestling Club, go subscribe under them, because it helps that much more.
And then watch Baschamania after.
Right, totally. Like, then come back on. I think, I'm going to see, but I think we're going to put this in video format on Rokfin. If you enjoy it, tip us. And I'm going to Venmo Cenzo some money, buy him some coffee. Like,
oh, yeah. That's all I need, man.
Like, if you enjoy it, like, everybody thinks that, I don't know how they think it, but they think that wrestling and media and content is self-sustaining. It's not. Like, it's an investment. Like, there's technology, there's resources, there's other, like, for me with BASCH Solutions, I pay my team to help me with different things. Like, I can do some of it myself, but I have to pay a team of people to help me. That comes out of my pocket, and I'm trying to help the sport and do what I can. But everybody just, if you support your creator, that's all I'll say. Support the creator. One more thing I want to talk about before we try to get RBY on. There was a tweet this weekend that I loved. It was one, I forgot who tweeted it, like We Wrestle 2020 or something on Twitter. I tweeted the tweet. He tweeted, if you had one match to show someone to introduce them to wrestling and get them hooked, what would it be? And my thought instantly, number one was Bo versus Miles, and then number two was you versus Imar. I think you need an NCAA finals match. I think you need the 20,000 roaring fans. I like the team implication behind it. And I think those big moments, like for my wife, as she starts getting into wrestling, like I saw some people putting out some, like Tony Rotundo said, Helen Maroulis' match against Yoshida. Awesome match. Awesome.
Right.
But if you don't know the background to that, and the crowd wasn't like nearly as into it as like NCAAs. Like if that match was on the crowd in front of NCAAs, 100%. But I think like that excitement, you feed into it. Like to see Bo Nickel do the Titanic, when you pin Imar, to see him, like jump up, that to me is like with my wife, she's getting so into the sport. That excitement is what people feed off of. What do you think? If you had one match to show somebody, and you can or can't use yourself, I don't care.
I wouldn't use myself. This is actually such a hard topic because I was talking to someone else about this too, and it has to be perfect, right? So the match I was first thinking of, which is not going to be my choice, was Yanni and Bryce in the NCAA finals.
Okay.
Because it's an awesome match, a lot of scoring back and forth, a lot of really, really good, wrestling positions. Yeah. But to someone who doesn't know wrestling, they're going to be like, what is going on?
That's what somebody said to me, like for the Bo match, like, but it's short. I'm like, but that might be the hook.
It is.
Because longer content isn't always what you consume to get you hooked. So like a 1 minute match with that finish may be the match that gets you, like, that perks your ears to like, hey, maybe I want to watch like a full 6 minute match. Maybe I want to watch a duel. So
another match that I was thinking of too, which I mean, I'm going to be biased here because, Penn State guy, is Mark Hall and Bo Jordan in rec. Whenever we had that match against Ohio State in rec, the year Jason Nolf was hurt, and we had to, kind of come back a little bit. That was an awesome match.
If I had to pick a duel, by the way, that would 100%.
That's the one, yeah.
I crashed my truck driving home from that. Did I ever tell you that story?
No, you didn't.
I had I was in the tunnel for that match, and I stayed at Cal's house the night before, and he's like, "Do you want to spend the night? Just like spend one more night. Don't drive home." And I'm like, "It's fine." It was a Saturday night. I wanted to get home. Like I like routine, so I had church on Sunday. I wanted to get home, wake up, go to church, go about my Sunday. I crave my routine. So I'm like on the fence, and I told Cal, I'm like, I'll let you know after the duel if I'm going to stay or if I'm just going to drive home. So after that duel, I was so jacked up. I had so much adrenaline. I'm like, between this adrenaline and the Red Bull, I'll be good. And I don't drink Red Bull that often. I drank one. And it's a 3.5 hour drive. As soon as the duel is over, I talked to a couple guys, and I left. An hour and a half. Good
for like an hour and a half.
Correct.
Drive.
First hour and a half, and I'm talking to people. So like people are calling, you're calling people. Like, can you believe that? And this, and halfway in, I start getting tired, now I'm like starting to close my eyes for like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Finally, I'm like an hour from home, and I straight fall asleep. and I start going down the ditch in the middle of the expressway. And as soon as I felt going off the road, I woke up and I jacked the wheel to the right. And I was actually in a rental truck because the shop had my Tahoe. I'm in a rental truck and the guardrail had like bowed out. You know how every once in a while when you're going down, the guardrails like go out. They don't just stay straight. So the guardrail was like that. As I come up, I slid down the guardrail for like.
I think your problem was the Red Bull.
Yeah, I don't drink Red Bull. I don't know why I did it that day. I don't know why. And I literally drove home like just like this.
the rest of the way you're freaking.
I was fine then. I was so like pissed that happened, but that like I have never crashed from so much adrenaline in my life, and the ups and downs like from NATO's match where like that duel got started off. You did
Carson Kuhn threw him in the table.
Right. And in the end, with how it finished, like that was a duel from start to finish.
Yeah, because Kyle was super flustered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Now that he's at NLWC, guys,
at some point.
I can't. Yeah, that was a great duel. I think wrestling, as the athlete gets older, the fans decrease. I think wrestling has more fans at a youth level because so many people participate. In college, I think is the most watched. So I think you take the most watched aspect of the sport and you
definitely college.
That way. Yeah. There's a reason the relevance declines after college. You have to fight so hard.
It's just because there aren't the crazy crowds. Just things, there aren't nearly as many guys.
No, and if you look at the college fan loves to follow their school. Wherever they're an alumni, they love to support. So like once the and I've really watched this in the last decade at Penn State, how little some of them will follow over to follow the freestyle events. They're just focused. Like when after NCAAs, it's like, man, I love these guys. Cenzo's my favorite wrestler in the world. And then you graduate, and the next year, it's like RBY.
I didn't need to graduate for everyone to like RBY more than me, actually. That just happened naturally. No, I'll be around town here, just State College and stuff, and I'm one of the newest club guys. So I haven't even been here, a ton, super long. And I'll just be around town. I'll be like, oh, Vincenzo, still here, huh? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, still here.
Well, it doesn't help, too, that there hasn't been that much wrestling as there normally was.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, if you're competing at the Open, if you're competing at the trials, if you're doing these things that, like, there's more media around that, it doesn't help when there's no wrestling. Like, that's...
Not at all.
No, and wrestling's not a very forgiving sport when it comes to like following the athletes, and I think that's why we emphasize so much supporting athletes, because you naturally lose support after college. As soon as you lose your like college fan base, whoever you don't get to follow you during college, it's so much less likely that they're going to follow you after college if they don't during college.
I agree. Yeah. Not much to say about that.
No, it's the truth. And I try to tell any of these college wrestlers that want to try to set themselves up from a brand standpoint, like engage with your fans now so that you have them with you for your Olympic quest. Because if you don't have them now, getting them in the future is going to be so hard.
Yeah.
And if you look at a lot of like the top guys like Jordan, Dave, Kyle, they have big Instagram audiences, but a lot of them are international. So a lot of them are like Iran, Russia.
Okay, that does make sense because there's a lot of them. They have like David has a ton of followers. Even like Bo, like guys like that.
And you can go into your demographics, and for a lot of the top guys, like number one city in the world for your audience will be Tehran, Iran, which your Instagram audience is still very important. But if a brand wants to go super in depth with you, and say, I'm going to give you X amount of money, but I want to see where your top audience is. If you have 200,000 followers, but 160,000 are in Iran, that doesn't help a U.S.-based company looking to sell something.
Yeah, what's the point?
Right. And there's a lot to be said around brand exposure. And if you have 200,000 followers, and let's just say 160 are international, there's a lot to be said around the U.S. base that because you're more popular, those 40,000 I think are worth more because you have that increased engagement.
And you'll just gain more followers too.
Yeah, and a lot of brands don't care, and I hope they don't listen to this and start paying attention. But like a lot of brands will even say, the bigger ones, the way a typical deal will work is they'll pay you X flat fee. We're going to pay you $500 to post this, and then we'll give you 30 cents a like or 20 cents a comment. So they don't necessarily care because they know that if you or I go to Snyder's post and there's 200 comments, they don't care. It looks good. It's brand perception. It's good that there's so much engagement on a post. They don't care if he's in Minnesota or Iran.
Even if all the comments are like king, yeah, blah, 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 blah. You know, they don't care about that either.
Right. No, they don't. It's
like also, hey, back to, I know we were talking college matches, but I think David versus Yazdani also is a great match to show someone. Or
that is, if you're sitting there and telling them like this is David Taylor against the number one in the world in Iran, that match is by far like that's yeah, that's a good one.
Great match. You really can't beat that.
No, and the only thing is, if you start telling somebody how international the sport is, I do think it's a derogative for the sport because nobody wants to be told, like, this sport is so great. What time's that match? Like, I'm pretty sure that match took place at, like, 4 a.m. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing negative about the international matches. But anyways, I think RBY is ready for us. Let's get him on here. Roman, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Looks like you're eating a little snack. What do you got there?
I just had practice. You know, we got this thing called Mucho. Just got some Chipotle.
Oh, nice.
Chipotle sounds good.
Very nice.
I don't know what we're having for dinner yet, but that sounds good. What's your go-to Chipotle order?
I just go a burrito, double steak, white rice, guac. That's pretty much it.
That's it?
Yeah, I'm going to
choice.
Cenzo, what's yours?
All right, so bowl, no rice.
Wow, bold move, no rice.
I'm from
What'd you guys do?
So my internet completely lost out. I don't know what just happened.
Yeah.
Can you tell me again what you said your go-to Chipotle is after I said I can't believe you get no rice?
Okay, yeah. So no rice, extra black beans, chicken, mild, sometimes a little bit of medium salsa, but mild salsa, corn, cheese, guac, and then fajita peppers.
That sounds more in line. I'm a half scoop white rice, black beans, double steak, cheese, sour cream, corn salsa.
You guys are going double on the meat a lot, huh?
Yeah. Otherwise I'm hungry in 45 minutes.
Okay, I can understand that.
That's like even with double steak, I'm hungry in 2 hours. If I go normal steak, I need to eat again in 45 minutes, and I hate that.
You sound like you eat a lot, man.
Oh, I do. Do you follow me on Instagram?
Yeah.
5-star meals.
Yeah.
I don't stop cooking. The other day I made 2 naan pizzas. I was going to make one for my wife. I ate both.
Nice.
So, Roman, we were just talking about your match. And we also talked about it last week because we love that you trash talk and troll, but you don't do it like negatively. You don't do it to like attack people or be negative. You do it because you had fun. Even like today, we were talking about the fact that some kids like, who wants to watch a wrestler versus MMA guy? And you said you don't have to.
Yeah. No, I deleted that tweet because I just don't want to entertain. Like, I feel like some people just do it. I've been noticing a lot of people just tweet things just to be relevant. So I kind of like, you know what? I'm not even going to give this guy the attention he deserves. But, like, if you're not excited for the match, then I think you're missing out. So, like, my point in this is just a cross promotion.
Yeah.
And obviously he wanted to do it too. I'm not like, obviously I think I have advantages in wrestling, but it's not like I'm going to go out there and I'm not going out there to prove a point. Like, obviously I want to win the match, but that's not the point of this. It's just for fun. I didn't plan on wrestling. I literally trolled myself into this match. So it's kind of like, why not take in? A lot of people are like, well, why is he wrestling MMA fighter? Why don't they? I think some dude tweeted something like NLWC doesn't seek out the best or something like that. But like, I get my ass kicked every day in the wrestling room.
Yeah.
I did a match. Like, it's COVID year. I'm not training for Olympics. It's not like I have anything important ahead.
No, and I think it's a really cool matchup too, because I want to see what he can do wrestling wise. You know, I'm interested to know. So, like, I think this is an awesome match, and like, I think this is going to be so good for the NLWC too.
And then to top it off, we're doing 3 minutes of submissions. Like, obviously,
Yeah, good luck, bro.
Yeah, I want to fight in the future.
Where do you think you rank right now? We both predicted that we think you're going to win by technical fall 10-0 in the wrestling portion. How do you think you're going to do on the jiu-jitsu side?
Well, I think a lot of people don't know, but I hang out and train with a lot of UFC fighters. I train with Gordon Ryan, so I know a little bit, but I really don't know. I know he's pretty good. I've watched him a little bit, but and it's not. So if everyone wants to know the rules, it's no ankle locks, so people don't have to worry about us getting hurt. Obviously, he has a big fight coming up in the next couple months, but I don't know what it's going to be like. We're going to start on our feet, and I'm going to try some crazy stuff because I can land on my back. So I'm definitely going to let it fly and just see what happens. You know, I'm really interested in jiu-jitsu after college, so I'm excited for it.
Do you think you'll last longer than Tony Ramos
Yeah.
did in his grappling match?
Yeah, he should have knew that. I mean, I've trained with Nicky Ryan too. You got to know the leg locks are coming. You got to. Yeah, they're good.
Do you want to go MMA 100% after college?
You know, I'm around it so much. You know, I train at your Schulman's. I'm cool with Burroughs, Jimmy Rivera, all those big names. But I actually think I might try it eventually.
Well, especially too, like I was thinking about the other day, the fact that Bo's building the top team gym. I think that's going to have a huge influence on guys, at least like with introductions to MMA, because you're trying it more. I think you're going to have a lot of fighters coming in and training there. And I think it's going to open that like door of opportunity. Like I maybe would have not considered this, but.
Well, also I think too, like even for guys like me, like with that gym there, it's a good opportunity for us to get our feet wet, just to see if we like it.
Exactly. I think if you do like it, you're just going to take off with it if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone has to try it at least once, especially if you're pretty good at wrestling. You just seen all these wrestlers just take over every weekend. It's like, dang.
Getting hit in the face isn't that bad either.
Until you get
I got punched in the face one time. When I was in JV practice, like 8th or 9th grade, I went to like sneak up behind someone and I like just got an underhook and he like didn't see it coming at all and he was in a bad mood and just punched me right in the face. Since then, I don't want to get punched in the face. Like I was pissed. And like this wasn't like a fight where I don't know. I don't want to get punched in the face. I have to get pissed if I'm going to fight someone. The fact that people can just turn it on and beat the hell out of someone and turn it off is wild to me. I still can't get in that mind.
I think I would struggle with that too.
Like, how do you not make it so personal when you're going to fight someone?
I mean, just watching it, it's an art, just like wrestling, I think.
It is.
It's a little more brutal, but still an art.
I'd say so. Roman, I want to talk to you. We talked about it last week, Cenzo and I, about your content creation. And I was talking about your blog that you posted where you're doing it for the right reasons. You're not getting distracted, but you're trying to capture the relevance. You're also having fun. You can't just focus on one thing all day long. Talk to us a little bit about the content you're creating and why you're doing it.
I'm just doing it. Just obviously, it grows myself, and then I feel like I actually had a talk with Kale the other day. Like, obviously, when you're a college athlete, it's your best time to do it. And it's starting, like, things are starting to change. You know, I think social media is really going to take over. People, like, everyone's on social media. Everyone's on their phone every day. So I think COVID is probably the best thing that happened to the sport of wrestling at the end of the day. And then with my
a lot of
way, man.
Listen, a lot of people have said that because if you look at the innovation that's happening right now because of COVID, with Flow, with Rokfin, with everything going on, a lot of people have said that.
bro,
Maybe not for everyone.
I think for a lot of people,
COVID hasn't helped me with wrestling at all.
No, I'm saying with these cards. These cards are never started without COVID.
You're probably right, but like, actually, you can't really say that. You never know. Maybe the cards would have started happening either way. But
it would have been in season right now. We'd have no time to even worry about the cards, the coaches.
Like Burroughs Taylor, they did say
there would be a season.
Burroughs Taylor did come out and basically say this was like, hey, we should do something. There's no Olympics.
Yeah, I'd rather there be an Olympics than
100%.
There be a Burroughs Taylor card. Like,
I agree.
I would have rather got to wrestle in March than wrestle Dan Valamont on October 20, whatever it was. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, yes, I think there's good things that are happening for the sport, but I don't think that it's overall being like, yeah, like COVID's great for wrestling. Like, it's maybe it's helping it grow in the long run, but selfishly, I'm going to disagree.
Yeah, I think wrestling made lemonade from lemons with COVID. I would have never wished COVID on the wrestling community, but I do think there's a lot of lemonade being made. I think you're seeing – I think it's been good for senior level wrestling, even though I wouldn't have wished this upon the sport. I think there's been a lot of good that has come from it.
Yeah, and – we get to see a lot of cool matchups that we normally wouldn't see, too.
That's RBY Sterling.
Yeah,
I think it's about growing the sport, honestly, and then I feel like there's a lot more trash talking going on, too.
Yeah.
Did you catch the Burroughs steak trash talk?
That was sick. It was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, all that stuff's good. I mean, if you're not out there like going personal, I think it's all good for the sport and it's all fun, but they got a little cringy in that one.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't understand. So we talked about it last week. It's like you're reaching a little bit if you're telling Burroughs he's doing something wrong and you're 1-8 against him. Like, Dake's a good wrestler, but you got to pick your battles. I mean, I don't know.
And that's what I do. I just pick and choose.
I saw you say something the other day. You're like, no, like, I'm not trying to get teched. Like,
against Yanni.
Yeah.
What makes you think you're gonna get tech though? Like, I know you don't actually think that. Like, realistically, like, I know you don't believe that in your mind.
Probably way too big, and he's good, but it's just. I think it's just fun. I want to see people just want to. I don't know. I think people don't think. I think when I'm trolling, people don't. I want to give people the response they don't think I'm gonna say. So like sometimes people are like, DeSanto's gonna be RBY. I'd be like, yeah, he probably will. It's fine though. So like I tell them what they don't want to hear, and then they can't say.
Yeah. So you don't actually think Yanni's gonna tech you then? You're just telling what they want to hear, which is
I'm going into the match. I don't care who you are. I'm not. The plan's decked.
No, never. Oh.
That's interesting though. Are you thinking about that daily when you're thinking about what you're going to post and what you're going to respond to and engage to? Like because I imagine you have a good selection of stuff to choose from on what you want to engage with and what you don't. Like, my interactions are so much more limited. So I have a smaller pool of content to choose from. I ignore some stuff because I on a very small scale, I get what Cenzo and I were just talking about, which is like you see some people that are just trying to provoke the response, trying to provoke the engagement. So I don't want to buy into that. When I get people who I know they tweet me over and over about the same crap and they're just trying to provoke a response, like, I don't give into that. But do you do that when you're trying to like select what you engage with? Like, what can I have fun with?
Yeah, I definitely pick and choose. But I think I just don't solely focus on wrestling. I mean, the wrestling part's cool and all, but I try to mess around with everything. I'm not like, I don't know, like, wrestling's cool and all, but there's some guys on Twitter that just love it way too much. And they don't even old, like, I don't know. There's just people who love wrestling more than I feel like there's actually love wrestling.
It's like the way I like would say that is like wrestling to me, it's a passion, but it's not a lifestyle.
Not even close. And people don't.
It's a sport. It's a passion. You can be very passionate about it, but it's not like a life or death. Everyone's so serious about.
Yeah, I feel like people just wrestling. I'm like.
So here's another thing that I'll say. Like, so even we'll take that David Gabe Dean match, for example, but David won. But after that, it's, oh man, you know, he's not the same. He's not crushing guys anymore.
Which is what we just talked about.
But then freaking, you watch the NFL, right? And the Seattle Seahawks lose to the New York Giants, and everyone's like, that's just one bad game. They can still win the Super Bowl. Like,
Steelers lose to the Bills, they can still win.
Steelers lost to Washington and Buffalo. They might be done. But you know what I'm saying, though. It's like, it's still a sport.
Yep. No, I agree. That's a good point. I think because in football you're conditioned to, you're going to see someone play 15 times out of 16 in 16 weeks in a row, whereas wrestling, it's so sporadic. Like, that was Dave's third match of 2020. You know, so it's like when you see things happen less.
Second?
I know he wrestled at Pan Am's.
Okay.
And that was March. So it's like, I think when you see something less, you're more likely to take it out of context. Like, I feel like we're taking that David Gabe match out of context because it was the first time we've seen Dave since March.
I'm not taking it out of context.
No, people like me. Like I just said,
you might be taking it out of context. But I'm not.
Yeah, like for me. But here's the other thing: you also see David regularly. You train in his garage. Like, you see him regularly. So, like, for me, if I'm someone who's not seeing him regularly, that's the context. That it's like, you know, you're seeing him and you're seeing, like, I know how wild he is on the bike. Like, you're seeing those things, and that's in your head.
Ooh. Roman, what you think about that bike, man?
I mean, at the end of the day, a win is a win. I don't care if it's by 1, 2, overtime. I don't care what anyone say. Like, if they're not playing the match, then they have no input at all. I'm not going to listen to any of them.
No, Roman, I said, what do you think about the bike? The bike, man.
Oh, yo. That stuff's different.
Yeah, it is. It's very different.
That stuff, that training lab, you gotta be built different for that.
I had one of, I think, the hardest workouts that, like, you know, we've done over the past few months, and then I had straight from the bike workout circuit, straight from that to wrestling, like 25 minutes of lab with Carter. Yeah, and homeboy smelled blood big time as soon as I walked in there and saw my legs were shaking.
I went with him this morning. I've been rolling jiu-jitsu around with him, messing around.
He's a beast, man.
Let's roll for a couple minutes. A couple minutes turns into 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
what you're going to get with him.
That's a workout. Roman, last thing here I want to ask you. You know, all these matches are exciting, and we talked about last week how fun it is to see someone like you go out and go after a match. If you had one match like you wanted to make happen tomorrow, who do you think it would be with?
I think the money match. All right, so for me, I'm all about growing and content, and with money, I think me and Spencer Lee.
I'm here for it.
I think, listen, I think that's the money match. I'm not calling him out or anything. I don't really care if I wrestle him or not, blah, blah, blah. But, like, everyone would love to see that match. I'm going to let it fly. And everyone wants, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to.
He's gonna make you go down to like 57 to wrestle him, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably never gonna happen. But like, if you
would you cut down to 57 to wrestle him?
So I mean, that's the thing. I'm cleaner. So 57, I've thought about a couple of times, but like, it's like I'm doing decent at 133 right now. Yeah. I really want to fight, so I really don't know how it's gonna affect my body. But I was like 39 today, but so it's kind of iffy to me. But yeah, I think that matchup, that's the money match. If you want to, I mean, after college, if you want to just make some money, that's what I'm about.
That would be a great match.
No, yeah.
Fantastic match.
I'm all for it.
Cenzo, what do you think the score outcome of that match is?
We going freestyle or folk style?
Freestyle.
Freestyle. I can see like an 11-8 type match, like, you know.
I think it'll be a good match. You know, I mean, obviously we get to see him wrestle a lot. I mean, I'm not scared of him. I really don't care about his name or what he has.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dance around. I'm gonna stay open. I'm gonna try to take it to deep waters and. Yep.
And that's like one thing about your wrestling is that over the past, I would say, year and a half, you've gotten super consistent at just getting after guys. And I think that's what's helping you a ton too.
He doesn't fear people. Like when you don't respect people to like the degree of where it's like you fear them, I think you should respect a good wrestler. But like you just said, like, I'm not scared of him. I don't fear him.
No.
I think that, as from a fan standpoint, that seems to be when you guys wrestle the best. When you're going out there to have fun and let it fly, that seems to be, I mean, you and Imar is the perfect scenario of that. Like, you didn't go out there scared of who he is or fearful of him. You went out there saying, I could win this, and you won it.
Right. And I think, you know, I have a lot of respect for that guy too.
Yeah.
Like, no fear. Not going to be afraid of anyone.
I got respect for all those dudes. And then, I mean, when you got Gilman clubbing you every day.
Yeah.
Telling you, like, yo, literally in your ear, like, clubbing you. Like, this man, Gilman, he's getting ready for his match. He's like, slap me in the face as hard as you can. Wow.
So I was also going to ask you, wrestling with Gilman at practice. Take us through a normal day of wrestling with Gilman.
All right, so first of all, there's no drilling. We're going 100% the whole time. Coach Cody has to come over and be like, are we drilling or are we going live? So then Gilman's like, nah, we're just going. And then we tone it down for like a couple minutes. Then Cody looks away.
Pick her back up.
We're just always wrestling, you know, and he's got me a lot better, like, just positionally. I can't really, like, everything you have to do solid finishes. Can't really scramble. I'm going to hurt myself because he's just so strong and grips on things. So I think it's got to be better. I think I'm getting him better at scrambling and just sometimes faster people give him a little hard time. But I'm picking him over Burroughs this Wednesday, though.
What do you think the final score is going to be?
No doubt, right?
I think, I don't know. I'm going to go Gilman by at least by 5. I think I've wrestled both of them. Gilman knows not to get put in those scrambles, and he's just so solid, and it's hard.
I don't think he's ever looked better. I think Gilman is at, like, he's ready for war.
Yeah, I think so too.
Kudos to me.
Yeah, and he loves his, like, you know, his environment. He's been loving his training and everything.
His element of camaraderie is so good. I was just texting him trying to get him on, but he was just saying he was eating dinner. But, like, his tweet this weekend about when the Hawkeye Wrestling Club tweeted a video from 2018 with him, and he said, use your own athletes to promote your club. Like, and he put the line emoji. Oh, my freaking.
That's the pass. Thank you for what you did, but now moving on. I think he's just bored.
And I love that.
Go ahead, Cenzo.
Yeah, no, he definitely, it's not like he's like ungrateful or anything like that. He just, you know, the new chapter of his life. And I think that he thinks that they should feel the same way about that.
Yeah, and he's in the trenches with you guys, and he feels that. Like, you look at him and
still posting his content.
Right.
Yeah. He's just one of the guys now. That's it.
Right. Like, I think we talked about this last week where it's like you would think he's been in Nittany line for as long as you can remember. Like, he said that, like, I'm in Nittany line now. That's it. I'm in the trenches with these guys. And you see it. He starts resharing stuff. He's, like, rooting for guys. If an NLWC member is doing something, he's posting about it. Like, he's all in. And I think he loves the aspect of, like, taking a guy like you, Roman, and trying to see how iron can sharpen iron and how he can help you get better. I love seeing that side of him wanting to help others like that.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell you, we're really close. That's one cool dude. Once you get to know him on a personal level, we got really tight.
Yeah, same. Having him on here a bunch and having conversations with him, like, I tweeted this a couple of weeks ago. Like, it's hard not to be a Thomas Gilman fan when you get to know him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's all I got for you, Roman. Cenzo, what about you?
Let me think here. What should we be ready for next Tuesday. Like as
Okay.
I'm gonna be spectating also. So like, what should I be ready for?
I got something said, but I'm something in my mind, but I'm jumping over.
Yeah, you got to get over him at least once.
Right over the top, I'm telling you. So
Okay.
I watched some of his wrestling matches. He comes on a knee. I'm ready to right over the top of him, blended fly.
Oh, he's wrestling from a knee. Good luck, bud.
I saw some of his wrestling matches. He's super nice. That, and if he does come up the back slow, I got a couple of Winn-Dixies. I'm just gonna put on a show. I'm gonna push the pace, and then jiu-jitsu. Just expect me to go flying everywhere. I don't care what happens. I'm just.
Oh no way.
We can't not talk about the Nittany Lion and get him in here. Let's see. Where's this?
Hey Roman, you're cool and all, but like, Gilman, what's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on?
Dude, we were just talking about you, and it's like we were texting. Thankfully, you're done with dinner. First of all, how are you, man?
I'm doing good.
I feel bad that you just missed what we were saying, but I'm kind of glad you didn't because it was even more authentic. But we were just talking about how much you're in the trenches with the NLWC guys now, and how Roman was just saying, like, you're helping him, he's helping you. They were saying there's not a chance in hell Gross beats you. Like, you're ready for war. What's your mindset right now after like training with guys like RBY and both having that aspect of iron sharpening iron where you're helping him get ready for a match, he's helping you get ready for a match, and you just seem so like in tune with the guys right now?
I mean, I don't think I need to say much more than what RBY said, really. I mean, training with these guys and being around, the mentality and just enjoying the sport again, and just I just don't see how anybody can beat me. I'm having fun. I'm learning a lot. Just because you're having fun doesn't mean we're not working hard. Me and RBY, we go practice and it's like going live for 2 hours. So you're not getting better after that.
That's what I just heard. Yeah. I think there's a few people at our practices that do that though. I don't know if you guys are the only ones or not, but I have a few in mind. Same kind of idea. Oh yeah, no doubt.
Zane
doesn't have an off switch.
No, he doesn't. I was watching him wrestle one of the younger guys today. Not super good. Just freaking getting after him. In his face the whole time. I felt a little bad, but it was fun for me to watch.
That's how those guys get good, though. Cut your teeth.
Have you
guys like Zane? It builds your confidence too. You go through a practice with Zane. You might. You get whooped up on, but if you get a couple scores, it's huge. It's a big deal. There's not a lot of guys that score on Zane.
And I know for
build
you
the next time.
Yeah, and I know for you had issues where maybe Spencer wouldn't wrestle you or you couldn't wrestle everybody you wanted to whenever you want. Has that changed now? Like you have guys like Roman, Zane, who just want it 24/7. Have you felt that difference?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everyone just wants to get better, and to get better, you got to wrestle the best guys. Roman, he's going to get he's already gotten a lot better. He gives me a lot of credit, but I don't know how much credit I can take. There's a lot of good coaches here. Maybe I'm just like a good liaison. I bring a little bit different mentality and skill set to the table. But, yeah, guys like Roman, they're always asking me to go. It's kind of like, man, we can only go so much.
Does it ever get tiring or every single time you're like, I want it, even if you can only go so much? Like, I know that every ounce is going to make me better.
Oh, yeah, you always want it, especially if a young guy, he wants to scrap. You're always going to scrap.
And you want to help them get better, too. Like
That's what I was just saying, yeah.
I love watching the younger guys that you work with. Just keep helping get better. So Roman just said that he thinks it would be cool if he got to wrestle Spencer Lee on a card. Now,
if Roman could wrestle Spencer Lee?
If Roman could wrestle Spencer. Now, would you guys want to have like a wrestle off for that first? for the opportunity to wrestle Spencer Lee?
I'll give it to him if he wears the Gilman singlet.
Okay.
That's fair, right?
I think so.
A little bit of psychological warfare too.
Yeah, so Spencer wrestling Roman in a Gilman singlet. I'm going with Roman in the Gilman singlet.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. Little combination.
Gilman sing along next week.
There we go. Rocking it.
I love that.
Gilman, what about your singlet from? Was that the first event?
The Rutherford one?
Yeah, you had a nice custom Rutherford singlet. They like slapped a piece of tape
Roman
over it.
has.
No way.
Yeah, that's like double power. All right, so I'll tell everybody.
Okay.
So I got like these singlets from Scrap Life, and they're like rushed, so they probably just had like old Zane Rutherford singlets laying around, and they literally just put like a little patch over Zane's name over Rutherford, and the new patch said Gilman. So I got them in the mail, and I was like, "This something looks weird about that." And I held it up to the light. You hold it up just right to the light, you can see Rutherford behind Gilman. So it's like double power singlet.
So at the NLWC, we're really big into recycling and reusing. Yeah. We're just eco-friendly.
Very progressive.
Yeah.
So
that's why we do things like
Thomas, that. And first off, for everybody listening, go subscribe to Rokfin.com/WisconsinRTC for this match. Gross Gilman.
But never again after that.
Correct. Go subscribe to that for that duel, but then go tip the NLWC in Gilman's name.
There you go.
So for your match against Gross, what is your perspective going into it?
I'm excited. I mean, he's the best opponent that I've had. So I'm excited. It adds another level to the game and another level of getting ready, and I'm just ready to go. He's a good wrestler. He's got some tricks and things, and he's very unorthodox and kind of lets guys in on his legs. I want to be there on his legs. So
yep.
I imagine there's gonna be a lot going on. So I'm real excited. Just kind of see.
Were you
eager? Where we're at.
Were you eager to compete when you got that call? Because I had him on here, and he was saying, like, I want to wrestle. I just want to keep wrestling. So,
yeah.
NLWC has a lot of good guys, whether it's Gilman, RBY, Nick Lee. Like, there's a lot of good guys. And within, like, a half hour after we got done doing the podcast, he's like, yes, Gilman's coming. Like, were you, as soon as you got that call, like, I want to go wrestle?
Yeah, so Coach Kale texted me, and he's like, do you want to wrestle Gross? I said, yeah. Just tell me what weight and where, and we'll make it happen.
I love that.
I love that mentality that he's got.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I just want to wrestle.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of people say they want to wrestle, but they don't. I've reached out to multiple people, or via Coach Kale and Coach Cody, but they just don't want to wrestle. Whether it's an ego thing, like they don't want to promote Nittany Lion Wrestling Club or whatever, but that kind of comes full circle too. I mean, I think everyone's sitting here, let's grow the sport, but then you don't want to wrestle just because it's on this card. I don't care if it's on Wisconsin RTC or whatever. I just want to wrestle, and we're going to promote the sport that way. We're going to do it together. We're not going to do it by being divisive and saying, oh, well, I'm not going to support them. And it's like, screw that. Even like the Hawkeye Wrestling Club had that thing on Track Wrestling. Was it expensive? Yeah. Did I buy it? Yeah. Why? Well, there are a couple good matches on there that I want to see, and you're growing the sport. Do I want to support the Hawkeye Wrestling Club? Absolutely not. But it's not about that. It's about growing the sport and just tuning in. If you want to watch it, pay for it.
Yep.
It's not about.
Speaking of the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, because we were just talking about that, you tweeted out yesterday, and I loved it. Hey guys, why don't you go promote your own athletes to grow the organization, the club? Yeah,
that really kind of irritated me and offended me because they were good to me. My time there was good. But it was time for me to move on. I moved on, and like you said, I'm in the trenches here. I'm a Nittany Lion now. So, anyway, it was through the Hawkeye Wrestling Club. It wasn't University of Iowa, promoting that. If it was University of Iowa, that's different. But it's the Hawkeye Wrestling Club.
That was a lot of the comments I saw too. Was like a lot of the comments were like, well, he gave Tony Ramos crap, or he's always going to be a Hawkeye to me, and that was my mindset from a marketing standpoint. Was, well, time out. Because the University of Iowa wasn't saying, hey, our graduate and alumni Thomas Gilman. It was like you said, the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, promoting the Hawkeye Wrestling Club with Gilman content from like 2018 or something.
And in a broader sense, that just kind of shows how much or how little content they have and how unmarketable that their guys are. They have no guys that are marketable. So why do they have to go back to 2018 with something I said in a truck to promote their program? That makes no sense.
It's a valid point.
You have nobody there that you can market.
Who are their most
Well, you can
marketable
try,
guys?
but they're not marketable.
I'm
They're
trying
all
to
college
think.
guys, really,
I'm
right?
trying to think. Yeah, I guess so.
They're all
I mean,
college guys.
What are they going to put something on Spencer Lee up? They're going to put Spencer Lee saying it's the same old song and dance. Oh yeah, he's boring. No one wants to listen to him.
That's fair.
I think that too. You're starting to see like the NLWC has so many athletes that are also pushing the NLWC. You don't see a lot of the Hawkeye Wrestling Club athletes pushing the Hawkeye Wrestling Club.
I think we just push each other NLWC athletes way more so than Hawkeye Wrestling Club. They don't really help each other out, you know. Gilman posts something, I'm reposting it because that's my guy. I want everyone to see everyone. I want everyone to get his stuff, you know. Like that's just the way it is. And
Gilman said that to me. You said that as soon as you came on this podcast about going to the NLWC. You said, I want to be on a team. I want to be a part of something where I'm in the trenches with my guys. I want to be on a team. I want to be going to war. You need that general. You need those teammates. And it's refreshing, especially after you told me that, because I would have never thought about that. It's refreshing to see that now as I see you, a guy who's even new to social media, resharing content as soon as it's out about your teammates. Like RBY's got a match, you're sharing it instantly. Not because someone's telling you to, because you can tell the genuine sense of this is one of my guys, he's going to battle. Go watch.
Right. Yeah, you gotta support your guys. You know, we're in there day in and day out, multiple times a day, you know, helping each other out. So we got to help each other out, you know, with our brands too. You know, it's not about me, you know, it's not about necessarily RBY or Cenzo. It's about the collective, the whole, you know, and the more we can help each other out and help out the whole, the better we are individually as well. Yeah. So there's a certain amount of, you got to put your ego aside a little bit, you know. It's hard to promote RBY because he does such a good job promoting himself. You know, he makes me look bad a lot, but you know, he's got that.
RBY is pretty good at promoting RBY.
No,
yeah,
people say that. Like a lot of people say that I'm good at it, but like people don't understand that I have a passion for it. Like I take the time away to do it. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, when I get out of college, like I want to be able to help people or teams like that. That can be a job I want to take. So people think, oh, you're good at it, but like I actually put time and effort in it outside of obviously training people. But I actually love that stuff.
Yeah, no, and like I probably follow like quite a few Instagram accounts just from you helping like your like boys and stuff like that. Like that's what I mean. That's what it's all about, really. Like just like for you, like Roman, like spread the content, like spread the love pretty much, just like help everyone out. Like I think what you do is pretty cool. Yeah.
Speaking of that, Friday, got a day in the life coming. It's gonna be fun on YouTube.
Nice.
What? Give us a little teaser. What do you got in it?
I mean, I'm wrestling Sterling, you know, so got to grow my brand. So I'm gonna milk his name as much as I can. Just get a little day, a little day in the life, you know, just like me waking up, going to practice, and playing the UFC game, and I'm gonna fight against him in the UFC game. Just get that all on film. Just, you know, people want to see what goes on behind the scenes. Yep. Everyone.
I'm not interested, but yeah.
You'll repost it though.
Yeah,
I'll repost it. I'll watch, repost. I'll smash that subscribe button.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, right? So everybody listening, go subscribe to Roman's YouTube channel. I'll link it in this video.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Any final words before I let you all go?
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Always. Go subscribe, rokfin.com/NLWC. I got 3 NLWC guys on here. So go subscribe to them. If you subscribe to the NLWC Rokfin channel, you're literally supporting these guys. So don't be cheap. It's $9.99. It's 2 cups of coffee. And
Thomas Gilman bought the Hawkeye Wrestling Club card. Think about that.
Right.
So like, it's not that hard. $10 a month.
And really,
get some great content.
The Ninja Line Wrestling Club, I mean, we're putting out the best content, not just
without a doubt,
you know, with our brands and like guys like Roman doing his thing. You know, people love to see that, but just the cards. You know, I mean, we have the best guys. It's undeniable, and we have the best guys here training, and we have the best guys competing on our card. So if you want to watch good wrestling, put your ego aside and subscribe and tune in. It's simple as that.
And at this point, if you haven't subscribed yet, you get even bonus because you get to go back and watch the other matches. So if you subscribe for the duel coming up, you get to go back and watch all the other matches coming up, or all the other matches that have happened, rather. So, no brainer. All right, guys, I appreciate all of you. I'm sure I will talk to you all soon. Thank you for coming on. And look forward to tuning in.
Listed right now is Roman, but we got some fireworks coming
The
for
bangers. Be ready.
For sure. Yeah, we got some fireworks coming.
Yeah, I literally just texted Cal. Can you post these other announcements, please?
Yeah, I'm like kind of going slow on these. You got to get people tuned in for these.
I don't know if it's methodical because nothing Cal does is without some kind of rationale. So I don't know if there's a reason to it that nobody knows but him, or if he's testing something. But I'm like, come on, let's post it.
Yeah, there's going to be some good ones.
Awesome. All right, guys. Catch you later. And that is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. If you did enjoy this episode of the podcast, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on more episodes. For more wrestling content, be sure to follow Baschamania on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and follow me. I'm at JBash on Instagram and at JustinJBash on Twitter. I'll be back with another episode shortly. See ya.
And the beat goes on.